In a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there lived a man known for his wisdom and kindness. The villagers often sought him out for advice, and he always had a story that taught them a valuable lesson. "Oh, wise man," he exclaimed, "I have a problem. But it's not just my problem, it's the problem of our entire village. We are filled with despair because we have nothing. Our crops have failed, our animals have gone missing, and it seems like all hope is lost." One day, a troubled young man approached the sage. The wise man listened patiently, and when the young man finished, he said, "I understand your despair, but I want you to do something for me. Go to the center of the village square and stand there every day from sunrise to sunset for a week. And at the end of the week, come back and tell me what you've learned." He saw birds singing in the trees, children playing, and flowers blooming. He watched the sun rise and set, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson. "We still have no money. Our crops have failed and our animals are still missing." He observed the clouds drifting lazily overhead, forming shapes that resembled mythical creatures. "You said you had nothing, but I showed you that there is always something. You had the sun, the clouds, the birds, the flowers, and most importantly, you had hope." They devised a plan to rebuild their homes, tend to their fields, and care for their animals. The fields were filled with crops, the animals returned, and the houses were stronger and more beautiful than before. Most importantly, the villagers had reclaimed hope. And that was the greatest treasure of all. They worked together, sharing what little they had and supporting each other along the way. Hope that things would get better. Hope that you would find a solution to your problems. This is the most valuable thing of all. "But none of this seems relevant to our problems," he admitted. They had all been so focused on their problems that they had forgotten to appreciate the things they still had. They began to see that even in the darkest of times, there's always something to be grateful for. Puzzled but desperate, the young man agreed. He stood in the center of the village square day after day, watching the world go by. In fact, the village looked lively and full of promise. At first, he felt embarrassed and foolish, but he knew he had to do whatever he could to help his village. For it is in those moments of gratitude that hope is reborn, and it is hope that will guide you through the darkest of times and lead you to the brightest of futures. As the days passed, the young man began to notice small things. "Look around you," he said, gesturing to the young man's surroundings. "Do you see anything that resembles despair?" On the seventh day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the young man returned to the wise man's hut. "I'm back," he said quietly. "Tell me," the wise man asked gently, "what did you learn?" The young man hesitated. "I learned about the beauty of nature, the joy of children at play, and the endless cycle of day and night." The wise man smiled knowingly. "What you have learned is exactly what I wanted to teach you." The young man looked around and realized that the sage was right. There was no sign of despair anywhere. "But how can this be?" the young man asked, confused. The wise man placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. The young man pondered the sage's words. He realized that they applied not only to himself, but to everyone in the village. From that day on, the young man shared the lesson he had learned with everyone in the village. And slowly but surely, their spirits lifted. One by one, the villagers started to take action. And as the weeks turned into months, the village flourished like never before. So remember, whenever you feel like you have nothing, take a moment to appreciate the things you still have.